So I talked about it. You gotta be prepared for the screen game, another swing screen. And it's probably there if he catches it. Now there's a little bit of eye candy here, right? They pulled a guard. Why pull the guard? Well, it's just eye candy for the linebackers. If you're showing cover one, which Illinois is, then you're going to see that pulling guard and you're going to want to trigger down. And it's going to cause you to hesitate, which can give him a leverage advantage. Right? I don't think Illinois or Purdue's running a lot of same side gap schemes on 3rd and 8. But you pull them around the horn. Maybe you get lucky, and you can get them up here in run blocking. If not, it can slow down this guy because down block, right? So he plays down blocks, I'm sure, differently than he plays someone going out to him. So maybe he squeezes so he doesn't get so far upfield into the throwing window. Here he just has a mesh charge, so that aspect doesn't work. It makes the protection harder. But you're going to see the crackdown on the linebacker. Try to get a 2-for-1 on the crack. He doesn't exchange well. This is probably a first down if he catches it. So any down and distance, you got to be prepared for the screen game from Purdue. They run traditional screen too. They haven't run it yet, but they run a lot of that as well historically under Brown. So Illinois is going to try a weak side zone here. And again, watch the heavy defensive end. He's going to stay inside the C gap, so inside the tight end. So a lot of that, right? Trying to get a safety here, responsible for that D gap. So they're in single high. I think Purdue's Mike, Will here, really encapsulates the Purdue defense from what I've seen. I've read it described as just really okay, right? And I've seen him get to a lot of good spots, right? Look at him feel the zone, get up kind of towards the line of scrimmage, and do okay, right? He gets punched out. He's not there fast, not overly athletic, but he's getting to spots. And same with the backside linebacker here, the Mike, right? Just kind of shuffle steps, beats the double team that's trying to climb to him. He's not there in the backfield. He's not laying the lumber. But, it's pretty solid. Defensive tackle gets kind of blown out big time here on the front side double, so maybe check the numbers here because the backside defensive tackle does really well. Front side gets blown out a little bit. But just a lot of, this side defensive end, look at him lock out. Good job locking out and then fighting back across when the ball presents. It's a lot of, that's pretty solid. So something to keep an eye on. Well, Purdue mixing up coverage here. They're going to run cover 3. Get pretty good coverage here. You're going to see there's a guy outside here. He's going to drop off. You can see him here. It's going to zoom in for some reason on 3rd and 6 because why wouldn't we want to see this on 3rd and 6? But he's going to drop out right here. He's going to drop out. Safety plays middle of the field. Nice job by the linebacker on this motion. You're going to see him not give a free release vertical and then just keep inside leverage and then drive on it. Right? Usually that out is a pretty good route versus cover 3 because he has to defend that seam first. Pretty good coverage there. Weak side's open. Weak side here is going to be open. He's throwing a little crack look there. Right? Boom. There. Right there. Good coverage by 6 right there on 3rd down. So every time Illinois has shown this look, they ran one cover 0. Every other time has been their Tampa 2 or their cover 2 robber. And so the quarterback now is feeling this, right? This is a cover 2 look. He's going to drop out. He's going to drop out. He's going to play flat. And he just baits this corner route with his eyes, right? Gets him off this press because he's trying to disrupt the route. Throws the little hole shot. Nice little play. But now you got to disguise it more, right? He's He's doing a good job now understanding what he's seeing pre-snap, knows where he wants to go, knows this is going to eventually turn into a too high look, so I want to play this side of the formation. Little glance to the left. Look, his little glance to the left, make sure the coverage respects it. Get the linebackers flowing that way. Open up the hole shot. Nice job. Purdue goes unbalanced, though. Notice both these wide receivers are off, so the tight end is eligible there. Keep an eye on that. Run single back power. Now, this is the problem that I've always had with running single back power this way. You have a guy in the C gap, or the D gap and the C gap. So you end up with the tackle, the outside tackle kicking out, and the play side tackle kicking out, and you end up with no front side double teams. Right? So power you think of as a physical run. Here it becomes more of a patty cake run. Right? A bunch of single team blocks. And Illinois is going to win single team blocks. Right? They have a really good defensive front. And so schematically you don't really put yourself in a great position, in my opinion. So even though you're pulling up to here, linebacker responds, gets eyes, you have a lane there, right? But you're just not going to win a lot of these blocks. So it's there, you're just not going to win the one-on-one blocks at a high enough clip if you're Purdue, in my opinion. Versus, for instance, if you could double team here to the linebacker and just run trap, maybe it's better because you get more first level movement. But maybe they're thinking we're not going to get good enough first level movement on that. Let's try to basically run a fold play. But something to look at here, like I said, it's unbalanced. He's covered, so he's not eligible or anything like that. He is eligible, the tight end on the backside. So that's something to come back to, whether they run pop pass, whether they run verticals with it. But just another element that you have to be prepared for, that they will run unbalanced. So they've run the swing screen with the crack block twice now. Crack and go. It is 0% open. I think it was a windy day too. He's just throwing this ball though. Right? You're running screen action, so that's what you got. You got to prepare for that with Purdue, right? Large variety of screens and then screen action off of it. Love doing it. Here he's going to run his little crack path, then try to break back to the corner. Gets a little handsy, gets away with it. Easy interception. Bad decision throw. It's just not open. So here, this just gives you a good glimpse of Purdue in their odd front. They're going to end up in drop 8 here. And so this is kind of a classic Ron English, like he would do this at Michigan. I think with Lamar Woodley when he'd occasionally drop him out as a linebacker. Here they get an odd front. Usually when it's odd front, what they're trying to do is they're trying to get into more, I would say, not exotics, but they're trying to fill the gaps from different places. So again, a very soft edge, but then he's going to come down. He's going to play run first, run first, run first, run first, right? So they're all run first defenders, but then they're going to kind of drop out into their zones. Quarterback thinks he has him beat on the crossing route, and that defensive end drops right underneath that throw. So you have to understand what Purdue is trying to do out of their odd fronts. Right? They will play run first, so you can hit them on play action, but you have to be careful in the sense that, such as this long developing crossing route, or even anything towards the inside, kind of in the inside in the box area, you're going to get defenders kind of dropping out. So you're going to maybe get pressure off this edge, this guy dropping out. So it's some of those kind of creeper pressures where it's still a 4-man pressure or a 3-man pressure, but your nominal defensive end will drop off, usually probably to the boundary, and pressure will come maybe from somewhere else, maybe the linebacker level, maybe the nickel, maybe this is an outside linebacker. So it can come from a variety of places. That's what they're trying to get out of their odd front looks. So they dabble in it. They don't do it a ton, but it's part of the package, and you have to be prepared for it when you see it. This is interesting. It's a little bit of a wind back play, so zone counter. The whole line blocks zone right, but they give it a little counter footwork back here. It's like a jab zone. Now what's interesting is watch the tight end actually feel safety and coverage. So he's not going to try to block the safety. He's going to run him off with the route. on the backside of this little jab. Kind of interesting. Offensive line is just going to do their standard zone blocking. Going to get a pretty nice left guard center combo block, push them through, get them out onto the linebacker, get hat play side just enough, right? It's not getting a lot of push, but you get your hat in position, and then the running back can churn out yards. He's hitting downhill hard, right? There's no nonsense here. He's not going to hit a cut or anything. He's just going to churn out yards, get away from his own end zone. It's a pretty good job there. So here's where you can start to tell that Purdue just kind of dabbles in the gap schemes. Counter OT here. All right, trying to hold the backside edge with the jet motion. Gain an extra blocker maybe with the tight end on the backside. But the problem really starts on the front side. This edge is going to play a spill technique. Spill technique means he's going to really fight hard inside. The guard's still going to try to kick him. Tackle is not prepared at all for a log and to bounce it, and he just becomes a free hitter at the point of attack. And that's too easy, right? You need to be able to have adjusters. If you can't kick him out, if you see that he's charging that hard and can't kick him out, you need to be able to loop around that. And instead, he just kind of plugs inside into no man's land. Ball can't get there. Too easy for the defense to defend there. All right, again, the push motion from Purdue. Seen a lot of switch releases from Purdue. I don't know how this comes away with a catch, but it's a good man beater route. So Illinois, runs a lot of man coverage, right? We all know that, cover one. And so you run these switch releases to just try to get them caught up either in the rubbing aspect of switch release or making it just so they can't rely on their pre-snap leverage, what they're trained so well to do. Force them to move kind of horizontally to maintain their leverage. And here, what people are most familiar with switch release is the switch verticals, right? So he kind of goes and runs the seam. He runs, the vertical down the sideline. And here they're trying to get him to jump outside. So they're playing at different levels, but they're trying to get him to kind of jump too far outside and then hit that back underneath. Right? So it's just like a kind of like a knife concept. Usually, let's say the slot's in here, he's going to run a vertical, he's going to run a slant underneath it, or a quick in. Right? So you just get the little rub from the vertical, run off the coverage, and you hit underneath it. They're just trying to do that same thing, but with a switch release. Man coverage is really great here. Great job playing at different levels. You get a nice little redirect here with the press, and then he just drives on it. He is obviously prepared they don't just run switch verticals. They run a lot of different concepts just with the switch release. It comes down with a catch on 3rd and 3. This isn't really a repeatable type action here, but it's something that Michigan's going to have to be prepared for because I've seen a lot of switch releases kind of from these stack coverages from Purdue, especially when they're anticipating the man coverage from Illinois. All right, look, I don't think Purdue is going to be going back to this counter OF here. So there's a lot that's not good here. So they're going to pull the guard, right? Trying to run it weak side, pull the guard. He's got to hinge down. You got to get wide on the backside as a tight end. You can't just let this guy scrape down the line of scrimmage and make a play. But the front side's dead anyway. Same problem. He steps up, goes to spill. Look at him put his foot in the ground, straight down the line of scrimmage, trying to spill it. This is log. He's logging him inside now. Where's the fullback going? He's trying to tuck it inside. There's nothing there. You got to log it around the outside. Now they get a good crack block here. Or you're going to see, not the crack block. He's going to do a good job attacking the front side. Right? I got a chance to block the front side. I'm going to take it. That's how you spring explosives. But the safety's still going to be a free hitter at the point of attack here. So backside and the front side, not really well blocked on this counter scheme. They're going to dabble in it. I think if you spill their counters, their gap schemes, Purdue's going to have trouble executing. So I told you, be prepared for screens. Here's a jailbreak screen from empty. You're going to see they're actually going to pull alignment on it as well, pulling the center. He's going to block out. He's going to run the little tunnel. Here comes the center out to try to block the extra man, anticipating a pressure look out of empty, right? Because if this guy's coming on the pressure look, now you got him blocked. Boom. He's one-on-one on the safety deep. Good job rallying to the ball from Illinois. But you got to be prepared for the screen package, man. They're going to screen you to death. If you start giving them screens, they are going to run screen after screen after screen after screen. Right? You have to take it away from them, take it out of the playbook, because they're going to run it like hell. Ran a screen before this play, too. Got blown up. But, again, so here's a tunnel screen, a wide receiver screen. Really the jailbreak version. Sometimes you see the now screen where it's simply a wide receiver screen, right? So he'll block out, he'll step back, get it, and try to run it inside. Here they're also adding the true old-fashioned jailbreak tunnel screen with the offensive lineman getting out to the next level as well. And it's dangerous. I'll tell you, if these third and long, you get into your exotic pressure packages, it can be dangerous, right? Because you just hit that crease, you hit that tunnel right underneath it. All these guys go flying up, you block out, you get your extra hat on hat versus man coverage, and suddenly they're running through the secondary. You got to be prepared for it. So I talked about it. Purdue's not going to do anything crazy with their coverages. They don't really drop from exotic spots and stuff like that. But they're going to run a lot. They're going to run their cover 2. They're going to run their cover 3. And then they're going to rely on things like twists up front. I talked about it when reviewing Michigan and Ohio State. A lot of times, so they have a TT stunt in here, right? A lot of times it's the person that pins down that actually gets the pressure. Pins down on the center. Center loses his balance. They switch off. Now he's got leverage on the center. He's going to go attack the quarterback, gets pressure, gets the sack. But it's just simple cover 2 on the back end here. Play before they ran cover 3. Now, one thing you need to know with Purdue, it's Ron English defense. You start running the ball with success, those safeties are going to start coming down. Saw it against Penn State earlier in the year. So you got to be prepared for that. If you do start seeing the offense run the ball, he's not just going to let you keep running the ball. So be prepared for that. Have your play action ready. But here, just a nice little TT stunt, gets home, gets the sack. Told you Brown's playbook, more is more. Speed option with the slowest quarterback in the land. Oh, man, he just takes it. No one takes the quarterback. I love it. Runs a 5.5 40. Looking for contact. Not quite sure. He starts walking here at the end. Oh, picks up a first down. Beautiful. All right, good job. You know, I talked about this earlier because Michigan ran this speed option against Iowa, remember. And the quarterback pitched the ball when he should have kept it, right? Difference between teams that dabble in speed option and not. I guarantee you Purdue just dabbles in speed option. They're not putting this guy out here a lot to run the ball. But this guy goes now, right? You got to at least force the pitch. If he's square at all here, this ball's already coming out. Right? If he's squared up, because this guy doesn't want smoke on the outside. He's not juking anybody. He's not outrunning anybody. Right? So you just got to show him enough to force the ball out, because by right now, the ball's out, I guarantee you. If you're square right here, you can keep your relation even with the running back. But if you're square and threatened back inside, he's not going to want it, because even if you're out of position, it's still going to be a 2-3 yard gain. All right? So you just got to respect it enough to force the pitch. They go right back to the speed option 2 plays later. Charges right at the quarterback. This is why you run speed option if you're Purdue, right? It's not for the quarterback to keep the ball. It's because they don't respect the quarterback run game at all, right? So you're just cheaply gaining a numbers advantage, especially against man coverage. You can run it all off. You have one outside, right? So you know these guys aren't in the fit because it's cover 1. So they're not in the run fit. There's only one player that can defend outside the tackle. So you just run the speed option. Here, you don't respect it, so he just charges, and now you just toss it, and you have him on the edge with all the room. It's exactly why the teams like Purdue try to run speed option. It's a great timed call. If you're the backside guy, you got to respect it. You don't need to charge here. I know you're doing it because, right, Purdue's predominantly a zone team. You're trying to crash that backside. And they're not going to zone read you too often, with this quarterback. So you're just trying to crash the edge, cancel gaps behind the line of scrimmage. And maybe even your linebacker can exchange over the top if the ball does bounce back. But Purdue hits the edge further outside with the speed option. That linebacker can't get over the top, and you get a really nice run game. Illinois is on their heels now. Purdue comes back with split zone. What happens? You get a 2-for-1 on the backside, right? Because now, yes, he's diving down the line of scrimmage to defend the zone, but look how fast he's scraping over the top because you just hit him twice with speed option. So this guy's flying off the edge, and now you got a 2-for-1 with that split block on the backside. Not bad, right? Everybody gets into their assignments on the front side. Good job there. But they're not dominating blocks. But that crease on that cutback just forms up, punch vertical. So this is not the most athletic running back in the world, but what I do get a sense for is he has a very good feel for blocks. And so he has an ability to kind of slip back into a hole and then just get north-south. There's not a lot of jitter there. There's not a lot of burst, but he's going to get to the right spot. So if you have a crease, he can threaten it, and he can threaten it for, decent chunk gains like this, 10 yards. So it's not going to be 20, 30 at a time. Might be 5 to 6 at a time, but he has a really good feel for the blocking schemes. And here you just get a 2-for-1 on the backside because you just hit him twice with speed option. Oh, man. Purdue with the rushing attack.